All right, guys, you're welcome right back on Africa Business Radio with Winston and Rachel on a beautiful midweek morning. And we're being joined in the studio right now.
Right. I mean, it's Media
people.
Wednesday, and we're having very interesting people joining us for conversations around Nigeria's staffing industry and the way forward. Winston, whenever you see a concept like this and then you see the way forward, it indicates that we're either way behind or there's a problem that we need to look into. Well, we have Mrs. Elizabeth Ajetumobi and Mrs. Kelechi Abiri. They are both human resource consultants.
That's right, but they also represent a very strong body that has been doing a lot when it comes to staffing in Nigeria. So we'll talk about, all of that, the challenges, the way forward, what we could do better, pretty much. Because when it comes to staffing, I have my own sentiments, but I'd like to share that later. But welcome to the show, Mrs. Kelechi and Mrs. Elizabeth. How you guys doing?
Thank you. Very well. Thanks a lot.
Great. So, Rachel, you want to?
Yes, just for background now, I'd like for you, let's start with Mrs. Elizabeth. I'd like for you to give us like an overview of the Nigerian landscape when it comes to staffing.
Okay, so thanks a lot. So when it comes to domestic staffing,
right,
where there's a lot of ground to be covered.
Okay.
However, the way there was a post on Instagram a few days ago, I think just yesterday, and then the lady was talking about her staff and how she tried to interview the girl, and the girl was saying she had interviewed a series of people, and then the person said they've all said that their former employers travel, they are not in Nigeria, and they cannot produce the number, they can't provide the number of the former employer. And then the lady got really worried, and these are things that we see like on a daily basis, and these are some of the things that we have started addressing as an organization. AHEM Nigeria, and that's why we started the organization, to be able to standardize the industry, to be able to organize the way things are done, and then somebody cannot just wake up, misbehave in one part of Nigeria, run to another part because we do not have data, and then there is no way the police can track you down, something like that. And then you have people moving from homes to homes, and now that we're seeing that we have families where we have double income families. Both men and the women have to work. Now these families are growing. They need help. And that's why it's very important that AHEM Nigeria is doing what it's doing. And what we're trying to do is to standardize and kind of put structure in the domestic staffing industry. Yeah.
Okay, so real quick, just before we come to you, just to add to what you were saying, because you talked about, how some staff would act funny, some, no track record and everything. However, do we also protect the interest of these people? Because when you talk about victimization and issues like that,
absolutely.
Do we look at that? Okay.
And that is one of the things. One of the major problems we've had as a country is on hiring underage staff. And a lot of people do not know that if you hire someone younger than 12 years, it is a crime. However, even from our experience, even that 12 is still too young.
Right?
Because even 18 is kind of young. Because the job of a housekeeper is tasking.
It is.
Very tasking. So you have underage staff, they're underpaid. Maltreated a lot of times. And so these are the issues that we're trying to resolve. So that's why AHEM we try to bring in all the stakeholders, the employers, the employees, and the businesses involved. Because aside from agencies, structured agencies, we have also undocumented agents, and we have a lot of them. And that's also some of the things that we're trying to do, because we want our domestic staff to be able to work happily, give back to their employers, and then we want both parties to be happy. And we're not for one part or maybe just for employers. No.
So I'll have to check that in.
Thank you.
Okay, so coming to you right now, let's talk about pay. because she mentioned something very important. A lot of these people are underpaid. Some probably don't even get paid because they're desperate, they need shelter, and then some people, some house owners think, oh, I'm feeding you 2 times a day. I mean,
yes, we hear that a lot.
Exactly. So you already have everything, so I don't need to give you money. So is there? And you talked about bringing the stakeholders together and everything else. Is there like a salary grade? Like a range? Yeah. And how do you ensure that people stick to this?
Okay. So being that we're in Nigeria, where we have a lot of processes that are not standardized and informal work. This category of people fall into informal work. Yeah. And then informal workers are usually underpaid all around the world. You have people that are laborers, you have people that are undocumented immigrants into various countries. They're usually not properly paid. Okay. But the goal is that as businesses that provide this service to homes, we have that burden, we have that responsibility to standardize the salary. Yeah, we know that a lot of families have like challenges when it comes to money now and all of that, but there should be a base salary. There should be a standard that you shouldn't so that's why we've brought together all of these businesses under AHEM. What we do at AHEM is we train ourselves to our businesses. We try to standardize our business processes, so we have people that come in monthly to even teach us things about hygiene for staff, things about pay grade, labor law, employment law. So those things sort of inform us when we speak to our clients. We say, okay, you can't come and say you want to pay a full-grown adult 12,000 naira. It's very not possible, especially in Lagos, because we know the cost of food alone, and then transportation in Lagos is not funny. So we tell them that, okay, following the Nigerian what's it called, minimum wage, you can't pay below 30,000. You shouldn't pay any adult below 30,000. The 30,000 is not even enough, honestly. But let's just say that is the baseline. That is the baseline. And a lot of people say, oh, but we can't, it's not everybody that can afford it. But there's no place around the world that childcare or caregiving is cheap. That's just the reality. So places like the Philippines, they've standardized their process, and the government is sort of involved in their training facilities. So they don't only export their talents to go abroad and work. They also try to have a standard process of training them. So if there's a standard process, that AM is also trying to ensure that if there's a standard process for us even training the staff, they cannot be priced or they cannot be offered a salary below a certain limit, because we're training them and they're coming in as professionals. So that's one of the key areas, knowing that if we train these guys to be better, they would earn better.
Nice. Interesting. Now, permit me please to move a little bit to the formal sector. Yes, because I came by this report from the World Economic Forum's Human Capital Index. It was for mid last year, but I pretty much think it still applies. They said, according to the report, that Nigeria scored 44% on its human capital development, as measured by investment in education and skills acquisition. It's trailing behind in sub-Saharan African average of 55%. Now it brings me to skill.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think employers are facing this huge challenge of filing professional and technical jobs due to lack of skill. Now, how much does this impact on job listings?
Yeah. So the Nigerian education sector is already suffering on I had this conversation in the car when I was coming with my sister, and I was saying, how do people even email people? Something as basic as email. You start with a small letter, you start with short forms. So we've missed even missed the basic. So how do you even start to build on we say when the foundation on a faulty foundation. So there's the foundation is already shaky, and it will start even from the primary level. Elizabeth was in education. I think she can even enlighten us more about that.
Yeah. So the thing with our education, like Kelechi said, that it's actually very faulty. And what I realize is that if we get our primary education right, I think we would have done a lot to the country if we get our primary education right. Because I believe that when you see most domestic staff, you find out that those that are able to read and write are able to do better than those that cannot even read and write or can do anything at all. So you find out that just the primary education has a very huge impact on how they work and how they are able to progress in life. So I think we should start from there. And a lot of times also it goes back to when somebody is trained. So when you have organizations that now invest in training, it will not come at, it will come at a premium cost. It wouldn't come at the normal, maybe, it will come at an extra fee. And that's where, it's a bit also funny because we want the best. So you see clients will say, oh, but this is not how it's done abroad and all. But then it's very expensive.
Yeah, because, so that's another thing. We don't exactly even value these guys. They don't understand that. Like, for example, in the West, they're valued so much. Like a caregiver or a housekeeper is not treated like germ, for example. Yeah, so we need to also have that realization.
Yes, there was a report from International Labour Organization, and then they said that actually domestic workers are one of the reasons why women, you have a lot more women in the workforce now, all over the world.
Thriving in their careers.
So they are there because they are there to support families, they're there to support homes. But then we also just see them, I mean, when I say we, not necessarily myself, but I mean, as a country, we just see them as, well, I don't really need you, I can get someone else and all of that. And the funny thing is that they also have that mindset of, I can get someone else. So we want to structure it such that if you're working in a place and you're not too satisfied with the working conditions, you can negotiate with your employer. You can, instead of just leaving, because you see a domestic staff, they're not, maybe the workload is too much.
They just escape.
They just
basically run away.
Leave.
Wow, just like that.
And, it gives a lot of agencies headache. Because you're wondering, and then you can't find them. So these are some of the things. So we want to be able to teach and reorientate them. If you're not happy about something, you don't need to take off. We can negotiate and say, okay, this is not working. Okay, for this huge house, you might need about 3 staff, and those are some of the things. Because people just feel like a staff is your domestic staff. The person is working from morning till, and so one of the things we've said in AM is when your staff wakes up, their office is in your home.
There should be a closing time.
Exactly. There's a resumption time and a closing time. And they should even have breaks in between. Because if they do not have breaks, they are going to break down. They're not, even machines break down.
Exactly.
Talk more of the human being.
I mean, it's a full-time job. It's more like the job of a mother.
Exactly.
Right?
Absolutely. And the mother can even leave the children and say, okay, I'm tired, I want to sleep. But the staff can't tell you, I'm tired.
Exactly. And I think something the pandemic taught us was that these guys are important. So when we sat at home with our children almost 24 hours,
a lot of people
we knew
that these guys are important.
Got to appreciate them even more.
I saw situations where, parents, both mothers and fathers, were openly saying, hey, who will come and take this kid to this school?
Exactly. It's not funny, man. And the funny thing about that was it wasn't just Nigeria. So you had people from all over the world, and then they were saying the same thing. So you could tell that a lot of people were losing it if they did not get help.
Exactly.
So the implication of all of this is we need one another. We need the domestic staff. We can't do it all alone, and we need to begin to see ourselves as a team. And that's what AM is here to do. So that orientation, trainings, and even us business owners, we are not left out. We train ourselves. We try to upgrade ourselves, get to see what's happening in other parts of the world and all of that.
Okay, so I want to touch on another major challenge and how AM, helps in that regard. Before we talk about, more solutions and what can be done better going forward. It's a great thing that AM collaborates with stakeholders, relevant stakeholders. However, another prevalent thing or rampant situation is abuse.
Abuse, yes.
And super serious, super crucial, super sensitive, and it goes on like crazy. And it's not even just, say maybe an older lady being sexually molested. Even sometimes the ones who have their underage stuff, you have a situation where the head of the house or whoever is in charge is either, sexually abusing her, or the woman is maltreating her in some gruesome manner, using like hot irons and stuff. We've seen situations where a child who's just like 11, 12 is being burnt by the woman who owns the house. That's so gruesome. I don't know how people even do stuff like this. So in a situation where a domestic staff gets gruesomely violated like that or sexually molested, how do you handle it?
Okay, so one of the things that we do is we've tried to tackle the issues with underage staff.
Okay.
And all the agencies in AHEM presently are not engaged in
underage labor. No,
exactly. We do not bring them on board.
Okay.
So that's one thing that we're doing, and we're still spreading the message, and we still have that campaign, right? Now, one of the things that we also encourage people to do, the reason why we talk about this underage thing is because it's actually not just in Nigeria. Ghana also has the same issue.
Okay.
And I remember somebody calling me from Ghana, and then we were talking about it, and then she hired the staff, and I tried to tell her that, look, this girl is too young for you, for your son.
Right.
And then like a year later, she called again. And then she was talking about all the things this lady had done, the little girl had done, that she's like a witch. They had taken her to church.
She's acting her age. The girl is acting her age.
She's acting her age. And what had transpired was that the girl had started abusing the little boy.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So I told her, I said, look, this girl is a child. And this is actually the time when she should be with her own parents. But because of the abuse, poverty, and all of that, she's working for you. She's in your home. She has nothing but hurt inside. And that's what she's going to give out to the person. And she's going to transfer that to your son. She's not a witch. Let her go. Even if so it was kind of like a family arrangement where they just gave her, and then going to the homes where you have a lot of abuse. So one of the things we say, we need to get feedback. We get feedback from our domestic
Document it.
Exactly. So you do not just get AHEM members don't just get involved in the recruitment process and then back up. If there is anything, you need to follow up. We follow up because these issues are there.
Yes, they are.
To be honest, we've had so many issues where people come back to say, okay, this Oga is trying to do this. He will send me silly photos, and we've seen some. And to be honest, we have a lot of cases like that. So we report. And one of the things we now decided to do in AHEM is you would send an email to the client. So if it is something that has not gone overboard, because we try to we teach the domestic staff before they go to the homes. So you report this. So if it's something that hasn't gone that deep, we stop it and we actually move the staff from the homes. We actually just move them out of the houses.
So documenting it helps us to also track and say, okay, this client can be blacklisted.
Absolutely.
So you won't go from agent to agent and say, okay, because, for example, Amy Staffing has stopped working with me, let me go to Repos Bay. No, we've had it documented. And then there's a member on our platform. He has a platform where he's infusing NIN numbers.
Exactly.
Check my people. So you can also go on that platform and search somebody's background and sort of see their track record, and then if they've done anything in the past, that's the only way to sort of track them. So if we have agencies like this collaborating and working together, that's the only way we can fight abuse. And another thing too, another abuse that we don't even foresee are the sleeping conditions of some of these people.
Very true.
Even I was going through a report some days ago, even nannies from the Philippines that work in Hong Kong, because you know Hong Kong has a lot of apartment houses,
high
rises. So some of them are they sleep in like pantries. They sleep in like, because of course there's no space for them. So those kind of things, even for an adult to have that kind of sleeping condition is unhealthy. And I'm happy that Lagos State agencies like NAPTIC, they are also fighting underage labor, human trafficking, and these guys, when you report to them, they take it up. Seriously. They really, really take it up. Especially Lagos State and NAPTIC, they take it up. They do not joke with labor. But if we see, for example, your neighbor maltreating their staff, what's the compassion you show to that staff? How do you step in and say, are we our neighbor's keeper? Do we just say, oh, that's their business? So even Nigerians, when you see something that is what reporting,
you should raise an alarm.
I'm sorry that a lot of us have this mentality of that's their business. None of my business. It now concerns everybody because it can be anybody's child in that situation.
Right. This is indeed very well organized. I mean, this sector we used to think is informal has become really very formal now. So I'd like to know, how people can get across to your agency in case they need your service.
So the thing with AHEM is we have several agencies under the body.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So we have different agency owners, business owners, not just agency owners. We even have training organizations under us. Yes. AHEM, because we just want to. So if you check us up on Instagram, our handle is AHEM Nigeria, and our website is ahemnigeria.com, and you can reach out to us if you want to partner with us or anything, So
we can give you a list of agencies to work with.
Yes. So there are verified agencies that follow suit with all the regulations and what we're trying to come with. They understand the vision of AM, and then they partner with the vision. So that's it.
Another important thing we're doing is in September, during the Nanny Appreciation Week, so Nanny Appreciation Week is like 20th to 23rd of September. So we're going to have like a conference where all stakeholders will be involved. So we're going to have a hybrid of virtual and in person, so that we can involve the nannies, the maids, the employers, the businesses, exactly. And we'll be training at that conference, and we would be talking, doing the talk, so that we can also walk the walk. So we in September we would also appreciate hardworking nannies. Yes, we'll have like awards for them as well.
Because those are some of the things that we're introducing. We've started that, and we want to keep. We just want to keep increasing the tempo. In September, the first 2 weeks is housekeepers recognition around the world, and then the last 2 weeks is the nanny recognition. So the whole of September is going to be celebrating nannies, and so we're going to be taking that campaign out and trying to see, because we want to bring our domestic staff in. Because if we don't,
what celebrating
it is well deserved.
They do very significant stuff, and they should be appreciated. And I must say personally that what you guys are doing is amazing.
True,
it's great stuff. It's not easy to look out for people that the society seem not to care about as much, and taking it upon yourself to check a lot of irregularities. I mean, look at the things we've talked about, very, very crucial stuff. So I don't know how you guys do it, but we hope that you guys get better with what you're doing, and we wish you all the best. We're always open to having more conversations, help you project what you're doing whenever you have some more time.
Thank you so much.
Families need to pay attention to this a whole lot. I just remembered one skit I watched some time ago when a little girl asked her mom, "Well, mommy, where do you keep all of your jewelries and your beautiful things?" And the mom said, "Well, I lock it up in my room." And then she says, "Why?" She said, "So the nanny doesn't take them." And then the little girl asks the mother, "Then why do you leave me with the nanny?"
Wow.
So families, so families need to pay attention to who they let in. And yes, I think that's very key. Thank you so much. We've been talking with Mrs. Elizabeth Ajetumobi and Mrs. Kelechi Abiri, both human resource consultants. Thank you so much.